Yeah, we'll just hold on for like 5 minutes.
Whoever wants to join us. Yeah, it says there's two people waiting. Are you on it right now too?
It might be me. Oh, it says we're live.
I'm on it, so I don't see. Oh yeah, never mind.
We'll just hold on.
We are
for
live.
like 5 minutes.
Whoever wants. Oh yeah, mute your. Yeah, we're live. We are.
Yo. I feel like no one's gonna be in this just yet. Let's do some vocal warm-ups.
Don't.
Mommy made me mash my M&Ms.
People are gonna be able to watch this after.
Yeah, let them know my vocal workouts. Oh, bless their ears.
I just don't know. Yeah, make sure you don't have your mouse on the cursor too.
Yeah. All right, hold on. All right.
Some people are in it. Yeah, the people are joining. Yeah, give them the vocal warm-ups, Mikey.
Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. Then you hit the next one, a little more alto. It's Mommy made me mash my M&Ms.
You're crazy, bro.
I got my dog out here looking at me like I got 12 heads.
You got the finesse shirt? That's fire.
Oh, come on now. You already know.
I'm posting this on Insta, bro, right now. And put it in the group chat.
Yeah, if you're watching this, drop something so I know you're here. I know we got Dion, Ello, what's going on? Testing, 1 2 1 2 3. You already know. Tazar, Vocal Vibes, thank you very much. Mafia, love the crew neck. Come on now, finesse. If you're a Drizzy fan, you know. It takes. I'm not gonna be singing full on just yet, but
I love the crew neck. The finesse, baby. All right, Mikey, we got 7 people in here. You want to, if you guys have questions, obviously you can ask them, but we're just going to wait a few more minutes.
yeah, anytime you think of a question, just drop it in right away. And, when we're ready to get to it.
Yeah, honestly, let's just get to it. So obviously, who are we? We are Mikey and Jared.
Welcome back. Listen, whether you're in the program or you're just watching us go live, if you subscribe to us on YouTube, you are part of the More Than Money community. Maybe not just yet, but whether you know it or not, you're part of our family. If you listen to us, we appreciate it. Like I said, like we always say, if you guys have any questions, drop it in. We wanna get to any and all questions. So,
All right. So yeah, I mean, obviously, Mike, if you want to start off with anything in regards to what's needed, what supplier relationships we start with. Like, think about it like this, guys. There's a lot of different ways to go about drop shipping. So we're just going to quickly go over the ways we the ways we do drop shipping, the platforms we use, the supplier relations we use. So let's just take it from the beginning, Mike, for people that don't have any experience. Obviously, some people watching this have different understandings of drop shipping than others. But yeah, let's take it from the beginner level.
okay, yeah. So, I guess at its core, we'll start like the supplier portion of it.
Yeah, just explain, I guess, quickly what drop shipping even is, and then let's just get into the fact of how we do it, how to get to $1,000 a day, and then the adjustments. When you're making a few $1,000 a day in sales to get to 10,000 a day consistently.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I hope a lot of people or everyone watching this knows what drop shipping is, but like Jared said, in case you don't, it is the idea of selling a product that you never see or you never own. So it's selling the product and shipping it straight from the manufacturer warehouse directly to your customer. So like I said, you don't go anywhere near the product. You never see it. You never touch it. You never smell it. It doesn't matter. It's as if
I
it's
love
not
that you
there.
said that. Like we've done millions of dollars in sales, and I'll be honest, like I don't even know what half the stuff we're selling is. Like I've never seen it. I've never, as you said, never touched it. I mean, I guess even if you owned a warehouse, you probably wouldn't smell it. but definitely haven't done that either. The funniest part about it is we're selling $1,000 items, and a lot of people think, oh, you must know everything about it. But the truth is, like, our customers know more about most of these items than we even know ourselves.
And that's just so ironic because it's true. Like when we first bring on new suppliers and we get them up and listed on the site and we start running our Google ads to them, customers will call us in or they'll live chat us, email us, and they'll ask us questions. And majority of the time we have no idea what they're talking about. Like if they're searching for the product, they obviously have a use for it, and so they know what they want it for. And so that's something, I guess, if you're looking to get started in high ticket ecom, prepare yourself for that. Maybe try to do some self-educating, but like most businesses, you learn as you go.
Yeah, so let's just take it like from this, right, guys? Like there's two different ways to dropship. There's two different ways to market dropshipping products, right? So one way to dropship is to find a website like AliExpress and pretty much take products listed on your website and then run Facebook ads to a $30 piece of plastic to drive them to your website and try to sell it for an overpriced price point and really slow shipping times. That's one way to go about it. And then the other way to go about it is to take USA suppliers. So you're going to call real companies that people are aware of, real companies that are actually making a difference in the world, that actually have a threshold in the marketplace. Ask if you can become one of their dealers, and then essentially take those products, run Google ads. So people are going to search those types of products. You're just going to come up, when people search that product, they're just going to find you. So think about the two different ways to go about it. That's drop shipping, and there's two different ways to do it. And, we'll get into which one we use.
Yeah, exactly. And just like the visualization of it, Jared and I, we've done the low ticket game. We've drop shipped from AliExpress, and I would say probably 80% of the members in the More Than Money community have also done the low ticket AliExpress. And I just kind of, when I first started off and I made the switch to high ticket ecom, just thinking about it, like thinking about who the suppliers I was talking to in China. And then when I think about when I'm on the phone calling these companies, like I don't know if anyone watches The Office. It's one of the most famous shows on Netflix, and it's like just a regular office. And so when I call into a supplier, I'm like, wow, I'm really calling into just a regular receptionist. They transfer me over to someone, like building real relationships. And listen, meanwhile, I'm in my bedroom in my pajamas, haven't brushed my teeth yet. It's 11:30. And just the idea that I'm building real relationships like this, it's honestly like an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, ironically, one of the suppliers who I became really close with, he's been like not answering my texts lately. And it's like, I'm starting to feel like a jealous friend, like a mad friend. Like, where is this guy? He's not answering me. I literally can't get him to respond. I have literally $300,000 worth of back orders. And these products are supposed to ship within the next week or two. And this guy literally isn't answering my text. So like, this is the type of stuff we deal with. This is real supplier relationships. Like, I know the guy personally. Like, I'm trying to get him on the phone. I've spoken to his managers at this point. Like, I'm literally just calling the company up. And obviously, I'm struggling to get answers. But this is the type of stuff we deal with. This is obviously one of the cons. But the reason I'm telling you guys this is because, when you do so much money with a certain supplier, it's more than just a business relationship. You actually become friendly with certain people in the company. You might tell them about their lives. They might tell you. You're actually going to know them on a deeper level in a way, because you're just doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month together, even millions of dollars in total with some of these suppliers. I mean, we work with certain suppliers that we do over 200 grand a month just with their products.
Yeah, and I like that you said, that you were texting this guy, because, obviously, like I said, we're talking to, usually if they're in like the retail aspect, or like they're talking about signing on a new retailer, usually there's some kind of manager. Like, you're not calling into a receptionist and they're gonna sign you on as a retailer for this like brand in the country. Usually they're a manager. And so I like that you touched upon, you were texting this guy. Some of my best suppliers I text every single day, and it just is your form of communication. It's like when you have that level of trust, and you're doing, obviously, to get to that kind of level, you need to do a lot of business with them, and that comes down to having a good system in place. And like I said, just the proof is in the pudding. If they trust you enough to sell their product, then don't put that to waste.
And it's crazy because like when you work with these suppliers, it's like think about it like if you do AliExpress, you're literally just taking the product and listing on your website. You're not developing any relationship whatsoever, and the supplier barely even speaks English. But when you work with some of these suppliers, it's like you're working with a really big company, and you actually get to talk at times, when you become big with that company, you'll actually talk to the CEO. Like, so we work with a $40 million a year company. That's one of our suppliers. Some of these suppliers are really big, like I mentioned. And for that specific company, we do $3 million a year in sales. So the supplier loves us. It's a win-win relationship. We're very, tight with each other. And he called us. He said, "Hey, I know you guys are located in New Jersey. I'm going to be in New Jersey. Would you like to schedule a meetup?" So I actually got to meet face to face with this big time CEO of this big time company and sit there and talk with him for an hour. And like that type of stuff changes you. When you're talking to a CEO of such a big company, obviously the famous quote, "Your network is your net worth." It's like I got to sit there at 21 years old across a table discussing, big business with a big person with my two partners next to me. And, it was a life experience that has honestly just helped my career, molded me. And then obviously me and Mike have gone to expos, like we're doing a lot of fun things. Like we're not just building businesses that are making us money, but we're having a lot of fun with it in the meantime as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought up the expos, and I guess that was something that I wanted to touch upon a little bit later. But since you bring it up, trade shows, expos where these suppliers come with their products, and it's like a ginormous hall. I know we went to one right before coronavirus hit in Atlantic City, and it was such an awesome experience. Just the connections we made. I mean, it helps that we formed, I think, one really, really profitable relationship where since we signed on with them, I think we did like at least 40 to 50K in sales in like 3 months with them. But just besides that, just meeting all of these people from the industry, it's a really awesome experience, and that's just not something that you can get from working a job or even if you're doing AliExpress. It's like, in our opinion, it's a one of a kind situation.
Yeah. So I guess we're getting a good amount of questions. So let's just stop here to answer some questions. But before I do that, I didn't want to say we're comparing two business models, right? And one thing I realized, right? I was watching a game show with my family. I don't know if anyone here has ever watched the show. It's called The Wall. Mike, have you ever watched that show?
Nah, I never heard of it.
Okay, so there's a game show called The Wall, right? And in that show, like the maximum amount you could win is $13 million. And I've seen numerous people win like well over $1 million on that show. Now, another game show I've also watched is Family Feud. And I don't know if you guys ever watched that one. I know everyone knows Family Feud. But you really can't win more than like $10,000, like $15,000. So the reason why I'm saying this, the reason why I'm talking about game shows here, I know you're asking what's the point, is that business models and game shows, I realize that they are so similar. It's like you can hop on a game show that can win you at most $20,000, or you can go on a different game show and come out with $1 million. And a lot of people they think, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, so I'm going to get started with a business model. And they don't realize that, just because they're struggling, it has nothing to do with them. It actually has to do with the fact that the business model they're choosing is just one that doesn't have, a lot of great potential. An example of that would be low ticket drop shipping, because one, it's so hard to find a good product. Everything's oversaturated. Nobody needs the products. And last but not least, even the people that do win, it's like you scale it for a month and then the product goes to die. So it's like with high ticket, it's like you're selling really expensive stuff, not a lot of competition. And last but not least, once you get to the top of Google with that specific supplier, you will pretty much be on the top of Google for, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, forever.
At least with the method that we use, yeah.
Like me and Mikey have been doing this since 2017, and we've literally been scaling suppliers since then. Like it's now July 2020, and we're still working with these companies. It's not an oversaturated place. Your product doesn't go to die. Once you get to the top of Google, you literally will dominate, most likely forever, because anyone new that comes along is not going to be bidding at the same rate as you. So it's just they're not even going to compete with you.
Yeah, and that's why, our most successful and most lucrative suppliers that we made that we made deals with, we were in there from the jump. So, we weren't the first retailer selling their products. Usually you don't want to be the first retailer for a supplier, but, we were the third or fourth. And, like Jared just said, if there's that little competition, like we just know the Google ad, like I don't want to say the algorithm because that just makes it sound so complicated. We just know how Google ads work. where if we're in there sooner than most other people, we're gonna stay at the top. There are different metrics that you can look at, and like I said, if people are buying this supplier on Google and you're showing up the top, then you're making the most money. And so at the end of the day, something that we like to tell members in our community is think of the supplier as like a piece of a pie. If there's only 5 people selling the supplier, then you're going to be guaranteed a bigger piece. But even that, I know we have one supplier where we got in at like 3 or 4 retailers, and now they have like 15. But that really didn't diminish our piece of the pie because, like we said, we were in there so early and we became such a dominant and authoritative force with them. And so I don't know if that kind of makes sense the way that I explained that. But
yeah, and of course, if it doesn't make sense, guys, drop comments, drop questions. So yeah, let's start with a few questions before we move on to the next segment. So I see Morty said, "Who uses Facebook ads these days? Are Facebook ads worth?" Obviously, that's not even a complete sentence, but Facebook ads.
Don't violate the man.
Facebook ads are honestly only really worth it for retargeting in our business. We do not use Facebook ads because Facebook ads are for trying to get people on impulse buys. We don't get people on impulse buys. What we do is people realize they need something for their home, they Google it, and we come up at the top. That is such a different game. That is such a better game. It's like you're actually only spending money on people that really want to buy it. And better yet, the products are big margins. So, we might have a $1,500, let me think of a product type that I've sold in the past. Let's just say a $1,500 gazebo, right? And people Google gazebos, they find us, we sell it for $1,100. And when it comes to Google ads, you're only going to spend, $50 to $100 to make that sale. That's going to profit you $400. So it's such a different game as opposed to running a Facebook ad, trying to make a sale in $5 to $10 on a $20 profit item that nobody even wants or needs.
Yeah, and I think, just to clear the air, I think it would be very ignorant of us to say that no one ever makes money on Facebook ads. That would just be like way too far leaning and biased in one direction. But I hope, the way that Jared just explained it kind of makes sense. We try to simplify things. And so like Jared said, when it comes to Facebook, you are going to customers. People don't go on Facebook to shop. So think about how much harder it is to make a sale on Facebook. When we were doing Facebook ads and the AliExpress thing, we hired a mentor who was really an expert in the area. And he would tell us, oh yeah, put these emojis in front of as a bullet, like put caps as the title, things like that, because you're waving your arms, you're like, hey, look at this $30, $40 product, like it's gonna ship straight from China, but I swear you're gonna love it and you're gonna need it because you love biking, so you're gonna need this product. Or searching in Google, 80% of people who buy things online who aren't on Amazon buy from a Google search. And so searching in Google exactly what they're looking for, and your ad appears. Which one kind of makes sense? You finding customers, or customers literally searching and finding you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer.
That wise quote, Mike, it's like with the cat. It's like if you want the cat to come to you, you leave the food for it. You can spend your whole life trying to chase the cat, but you're not going to catch it. But if you leave the food out, the cat will come back. And that's the difference between Facebook ads and Google ads. It's like one of them, you're just leaving the food out for the cat to eat. And the other one's like you're trying to chase the cat, like you're going fishing. So
yeah, make the cat come to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I see Vershawn, I said it last time, but if you have not seen our interview with Vershawn, guy's an absolute beast. Check that out.
You're skipping 2 questions by
No, yeah. I didn't, no. Kid's bugging. Abdallah, are suppliers easy to talk to? What have been your experiences so far? What's best, phone calls or emails? So when it comes to suppliers, Jared was doing high ticket a little bit before I was. So I was kind of able to, he was able to teach me a little bit. And so learning suppliers is obviously one of the first steps. And my best advice is, one, don't call a supplier you really think could be a winner. Don't make that your first or second or third or fourth call. It's really about getting used to it and getting comfortable speaking with them on the phone. In terms of phone versus email, I think phone is by far the best way to close a supplier because it's much more personable. You're able to make different kind of connections. Most of the time, it ends up with them saying, "Shoot me an email talking about everything we discussed." But you definitely want to start off with a phone call.
So one thing that's definitely worth noting is if you go on a supplier's website and I would immediately look at the bottom. And if you see something called dealer application, definitely do that first. Because when you call them, they're always going to tell you to do it. So if you do it first and then call them, then it's like you're one step ahead of them. They could tell you're serious as well. So first things first, look for the dealer application. If you see it, then just go ahead and do that first before you even call them. If you don't see it, then try calling them. Now, a lot of times, unfortunately, you're going to get put on the phone with a gatekeeper, and they're probably going to, forward you to the right person. Hopefully, the right person answers, but if not, then obviously, I personally don't leave voicemails. So if the person doesn't answer, I try to get an email, and I'll leave an email. Otherwise, I'll just keep calling. So, calls and emails are definitely the two best. Calls are definitely better, but a lot of the time they make you send an email anyway, which obviously, Abdallah, you're in our program, so we can definitely help you send a good email, one that's going to convert a supplier.
Yeah. Something else I want to note that I said to our members a couple days ago was whether you're closing a supplier or you're closing a customer, any kind of sales, whether you're working a sales job, the number one thing that you should look to do is build some kind of personal connection. Like I said, I like to do some research on suppliers, where they're at. But if you can build any kind of connection with them, whether it be something as simple as their name is the same as your dad's name. Oh, like that's so funny. That's my dad's name. Yada, 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 yada. Like building something personal before jumping straight into the business aspect of it, it kind of changes something. And like I said, that's something that I found I have a lot of success with. I definitely recommend everyone reads the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's not what it sounds like. It probably is not the best sounding title. Like it sounds like Win Friends, Desperate for Friends. Yeah, but don't be shallow. Read the book. It has amazing sales tricks that honestly really help in every aspect of high ticket dropshipping.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I use a lot of the tactics from that book. As Mike mentioned, if the name is a name that I'm familiar with, I'll let them know that I love the name. If I hear anything personal about them that I can attack, I will. Just because that's how people are. People like to talk about themselves, period. When it comes to sales, same thing. If a customer calls you and they tell you they're from Boston, if you like the Patriots or don't, make a comment about the Patriots. Make a comment about the Celtics, Say something that's going to make the person laugh, make the person remember you. It's a big difference in closing sales and closing suppliers. And, when you first start with your high ticket store, I was actually with a friend yesterday. He made a sale. It was July 5th, and someone called him at 1 p.m. He missed it. He called them back, closed the sale yesterday, a Sunday, July 5th. And, that's the difference, right? If you call a big box company, they're not answering on Sunday. They're not calling you back on Sunday. So when it's like, when you're first getting started and, this is your business, your family-owned business, like you have such potential to be so different as opposed to, Walmart or Amazon. Like, you can be so personal with the customer, so kind with the customer. Like, you can give them such a customer service experience that, they never got. And it leads to closing so many sales. And then eventually you get to a point where you make so many sales without that, then you start becoming more like the big box guys. But when you're first getting started, obviously you're desperate for money. And, when you're doing Google ads with high ticket products, you're going to get good leads at a cheap price. And when you answer those calls, you can make such an impression on those customers and easily get sales from Walmart away from, people always ask me, how do you compete with the big box? Competing with the big box are the easiest people to compete with. Their customer service is lacking. They don't go hard on their advertisements because they're so big of companies. And ultimately, it's just a lot of people just don't even like big box retailers in general. I've had so many customers tell me they just hate Walmart. So,
Yeah.
Competing with the big box, like customer service and Google ads, you get such an advantage to steal a huge piece of that pie, that $1 trillion pie. There's no reason why you can't be getting, your own $100,000, $200,000 a year.
Yeah, and that's honestly my favorite question. Suppliers usually, when you call them to try to close them, they'll have some questions they want to know. How long have you been in business? And something that I get a lot is what separates you from Wayfair and Home Depot. And like Jared said, that is just the easiest question to ask. First of all, like you said, the customer service. One, you're going to be, I called Wayfair because my mom wanted to buy some patio furniture like a month ago. I was on hold for 20 minutes, finally got a hold of someone, and they knew absolutely nothing about the product. And I don't blame them. When you're that big and you carry thousands upon hundreds of thousands of products, you really can't expect the customer service rep to really be able to service you. And so obviously, we carry as much as maybe like 15 to 20 suppliers, but it's obviously not that hard to keep track of when you compare it to those guys who carry thousands of suppliers. And here's the Google Ads portion. It is so easy to dominate a Wayfair when it comes to Google Ads because the same thing kind of applies. How are they going to nitpick these small suppliers when they have thousands of suppliers to worry about? And so, like I said, one of my suppliers, I'm like really the only small online retail store that sells them. And I humble brag, I dominate Wayfair and Home Depot. Today it comes down to making sure I have the lowest price because this particular supplier doesn't enforce a MAP policy. But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that's the best. When you're looking for suppliers to work with, the first thing I do is I Google them and I see who's selling them on Google Shopping. And when I see it's just big box retailers, that's a green check on my list immediately. If I see 15 to 20 people drop shipping, then I know I can't compete. That's the thing. Like, competing with the big box retailers is and never will be the issue. The issue is competing with 15, 20 other drop shippers, because what's going to happen is that everyone's going to be bidding on the same keywords, and you're going to have to pay so much that you're just not going to make sales profitably. You'll still make sales, you just won't be profitable. And that leads to the next thing is that, you have to be analyzing your ads. If you're a student watching this, or if you're someone new to this, and you're spending $50 to $100 a day, you need to be looking at your advertisements and seeing where that money is going, where that money is being allocated. Because what can happen over time is you can lower the budgets on the stuff that isn't making sales and raise the budgets on the stuff that's profitable. And now, instead of spending $50 a day on nonsense, you could be spending $50 a day on things that are money makers. Then you can raise that to $100 a day, $200 a day. Next thing you know, you're spending $1,000 a day and profiting $3K daily. And that's literally what one of my stores does. We spend between $1,200 and $1,400 a day and pretty much profit between $3,000 and $5,000 on the average day. So, you really can get to that level, but you have to start small. You start with $20 a day, you raise it to 50, you raise it to 100, and next thing you know, the sky's the limit.
This kid's just giving away the secret sauce as if we don't.
No, I'm giving out millions of dollars of information on a free live stream.
I love it. That's what it's all about. Let's get to the next question.
The next question, it might seem obvious to some, but it isn't obvious to all. What is high ticket drop shipping? So high ticket drop shipping is simply put products over $500, or depending on who you're talking to, products over $1,000, which, when you're first getting started, it's 500. But I think for guys like me and Mike, we consider it strictly products over $1,000 at this point. And you take those products, pretty much USA suppliers. You don't want to be selling $1,000 stuff from China. It's just a recipe for disaster. And you run Google ads with it. So that's, in simplest put, selling products over $1,000 and running Google ads to it. And last but not least, not holding inventory. If you're holding inventory, if you're warehousing, then you're not drop shipping. The beautiful part about drop shipping is that we don't need to buy inventory. We can literally just create listings online, run advertisements to those listings. If they make sales, awesome. If not, we cut the ad spend. It's so amazing because, back in the day, if people wanted to start a retail store, they had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on inventory.
Yeah, and that's pretty much just a sum up of exactly what it is we do. A lot of people who, I explain this to, they get very taken back because, when you're drop shipping a $50 product, it doesn't sound that intimidating. But when you talk about drop shipping $5,000, $10,000, we've drop shipped $30,000 sales before. When you get that high of numbers, it can seem scary. Like, oh my God, like I need to have $10,000 to start this business. Well, that's not the case. One, we have credit cards where, we'll prepay all the orders like as soon as it comes into us. And two, if you really need to and you don't have credit or you don't have money saved up to front for the orders, you could just wait for Shopify to deposit it into your bank account. It usually takes around like 3 days. Deposit into your bank account, buy it from the supplier, and they'll ship it for you. It's really just regular drop shipping. There's no secret sauce. It's just expensive products with expensive profit, with high profit margins. So usually we get anywhere from 20% to 35% wholesale. And so don't think that you're going on Wayfair, finding a product, listing it on your site for more. When you close suppliers, it is an official agreement. Like, you're getting a special pricing for becoming a retailer. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, that barrier of entry is really kind of what separates this from most business models. That any Joe Schmo with a laptop can't just wake up in the morning and be like, all right, I'm going to close suppliers. Like, there's much more that goes into it than that.
Yeah. And guys, a lot of people think that it's easier to sell cheap stuff than expensive stuff online. Let me start with cheap stuff. That really couldn't be further from the truth. It is 100% easier to sell expensive products online than it is to sell cheap products. I can tell you that from my years of experience. I've done it with Google ads. I've done it with Facebook ads. I've tried both on both platforms. And I can tell you that it's not that selling really expensive stuff is easy. Like, it's not easy to sell $50,000 or $100,000 items, but to sell items between $1,000 and $5,000, as opposed to selling items between $10 and $50, it is so much easier to sell products between $1,000 and $5,000 than it is between $10 and $50. If you're selling anything below $500, I'm telling you, you're just making life harder for yourself. You can be selling more expensive products, which gives you more advertising money to spend in order to make a sale and still be profitable.
Yeah, great way to put it. Next question. We'll drop.
DM Pat.
Oh, okay. I'm from outside the U.S., but want to do high ticket in the U.S., but I don't know how to do it. That would depend on where exactly you are. I know you can do it from the UK, Canada. From our personal experience, we've seen people do it. Besides that, Jared, I don't know if...
You need to have an LLC open. You need to have some sort of, what's the word? Some sort of corporation. It's not about where you are, but you need to be registered. These suppliers need a way to legally be able to work with you. Everyone's trying to protect themselves. So, no one's going to work with you if you're not a legitimate company. So it doesn't really matter where you're located per se. It just might matter where your company is registered.
Yeah, for sure.
The next question. This is a great question from Abdallah. Will high ticket drop shipping be oversaturated in 5 to 10 years? What do you guys think? Like low ticket? That is a great question. I think we should both answer that, Mike. You wanna answer first, or you want me to go first?
You start us off.
Yeah. So high ticket drop shipping will definitely not be oversaturated in 5 to 10 years. And here's why I'm so confident is because it started years ago, like almost 10 years ago. And 10 years later, it isn't oversaturated. And 10 years after that, I guarantee it still won't be. And here's why, right? Each new invention turns into a brand. So put it into perspective. How many inventions come out a year? I don't know the answer, but I'm sure if you Google it, it's a lot. Every single one that actually becomes a hot product will turn into a new brand. So every time a new brand is invented, they need new people to sell that brand. So guess what? Yes, are more people drop shipping now than ever? Of course. But more inventions are being created than ever. And that is enough to tell you that, it won't be oversaturated. Again, once you find your hot winner, you can pretty much sell them for the rest of your life. So you find one winner that's making, $5,000 a month profit, $10,000 a month profit. Next thing you know, you're just Googling, and next thing you know, you find another one or another one. At this point, we work with 100 suppliers and have a lot of them making us good money. And I'm telling you guys, till this day, there are new inventions coming out, new suppliers coming out. And 10 years from now, yes, there'll be more drop shippers, but there'll be a lot more products to drop ship as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just kind of answer that with a story and the fact that last week I called a supplier who, they had a good looking website. I called them up and they told me that they actually just started manufacturing 6 months ago. And so simply put, as the world and the country is continuously evolving, and like Jared said, new things are becoming invented, there are going to be more manufacturers, and although there may be more drop shippers, there's going to be more people creating products. And Our motto is if people are manufacturing products, then people are selling the products. They're not going to manufacture things that aren't selling. So, we have a particular abundance mindset where we personally believe that there is enough for everyone to go around. If someone's willing to put the work in, because if you think it comes easy, then you're just wrong. Anyone who tries to sell you on a business idea and tells you it's going to be easy and hands off is lying to you, because there's really no business that's easy to succeed in, because that would be a saturated business. If it was easy for everyone to get in and everyone to succeed, that's the definition of saturation. But when you go through struggles like I have, and I think I didn't really have as much success with this business model as quickly as Jared did. I think Jared was able to do it in, like we said last live stream, like a 4-5 month span. When you really go through it and you make your way through those tough times, it really it goes to show. It reflects in your character, and it reflects on, I guess the business in general. I don't know if that kind of made sense, Jared.
Yeah, no, it made perfect sense. And guys, this question hasn't been asked in the chat yet, but I'll just answer it. A lot of people always ask, how long will it take to see results? On average, most people will make their first sale within 6 to 12 months of the first day that they, start working towards their high ticket business. But I will tell you guys that I've had students make sales as quickly as 2 months after, so depending how hard you want to work, you can honestly make a sale within 2 months. It can be 6, it can be 10, it can be 12. For me and Mikey, we pretty much made our first sale within around 4 or 5 months after we started, not after we started running ads. When you start running ads, you make your first sale within, honestly, typically a week or two. But, we started making, good money. And after I started making over 10 grand a month profit after 8 months. And he started making over 10 grand a month profit after 12 months. So, if you want to hear exactly our stories, that's it right there. We were making over $10,000 a month within 8 to 12 months of when we started our drop shipping businesses. So, obviously I can never guarantee those results for you. I never will. I never have. But, that is what's possible. At this point, our stores collectively with our other partners, we profit between $60,000 and $80,000 a month. So, guys, not only is it not oversaturated, but we're still growing till this day. We treat it as if we have nothing. I'm not even kidding when I say this. I wake up every single day and literally treat my drop shipping businesses like I'm at zero. Like I've never started a drop shipping store. Like I've never sold a single product before. And ultimately, as long as you keep that mentality, then you can easily get from $0 to $1,000 a day, and then from 1 to 10,000. Because that's the thing when you make money as a business owner, is that the strategies used to make you $5,000 a day are the same strategies to make you 10,000. It's just you need to do it 2 more times. If you close a winning supplier, right? Here's what's going to happen. The shift of your mentality is going to go from expanding the company to keeping the company going. You're going to have to answer calls, emails, live chats. You're going to have to deal with orders. You're going to have to deal with returns, right? So you're going to have a lot to deal with. You're going to be stressed out. But what you do is you outsource. Once you have someone to do that for you, then next thing you know, you're making $4,000 a month profit. And instead of spending all your time dealing with customer nonsense, you can do exactly what you did to get to $4,000 a month again, right? Close another supplier relation, launch the products again, run the ads. And next thing you know, you're making $6,000 a month profit. Then you close another great supplier relationship, you're making 8. Now, obviously making it sound simpler than it is, but this is really all it takes, guys, to get from 0 to 1,000 and then 1,000 to 10 is to start outsourcing and then start expanding the company. Because like I said, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, all you have to do is use the same thing that you did to make $5,000 a month profit, do it again, and you can be making $10,000 a month profit.
Exactly. And, like you said, Jared, maybe he made it sound simpler than it is, but when you boil it down, that's what it comes down to. And, like he mentioned, it's also a mentality shift. When you make your first $4,000 in a month, maybe when you started, your goal was to I want to make supplement my income. So if I can make $4,000 a month from this dropshipping business, I'll be good. I can stop. But then you do it, and you're like, wait a second. If I just add a couple more suppliers and they're real profitable and they're winners, then I can just continue on. I can turn that 4,000 into 8,000, 8,000 into 12,000, and it just keeps going on. And we hope that is the mentality of everyone who does it. Listen, if you're satisfied with 5,000, then power to you. Jack and I were not complacent guys, and we have bigger goals for ourselves than that. So that's why we'll really never get complacent when it comes to any kind of business.
When me and Mikey started, there really weren't a lot of people that took dropshipping to the levels that we've taken it to. And, when I started dropshipping, right, and I started making decent money, there really, like I said, there was no one I knew that was doing the results that my store is doing till this day. Like right now, one of our stores does over $600,000 a month in sales. I didn't know a single person doing that, right? But when I got, to a few $100,000 a month, and I was at the same level as the people I inspired to be like, I just thought to myself, like, why couldn't I take it further? And when I looked for the answer as to why, I couldn't find any reason as to why I couldn't take it further. So I just took it further. And ultimately, a lot of people think, oh, there must be some secret sauce. But I'm telling you, there isn't, right? Like, I made this analogy to one of my friends recently. He just started his store, and he wants to be making the same money as my store that's been scaling for 3 years. And I say, let's think about it from sports, right? Let's just say a rookie of the year in basketball, right? Or let's say someone that's young, right? Like Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? He's a great player, right? An unbelievable player. But you can't give him the same credit that you give LeBron James. Why? Because he simply hasn't been doing it for long enough. So I tried to explain to my friend, I was like, look, your store is doing well, but you only have like 4 suppliers. You simply don't even have close to the products I have. You're not spending close to the money in ads. So even though you're doing well, you can't expect to be doing $600K a month because, again, you just have to be in it for more years. Just like you can't consider a rookie of the year a Hall of Famer. He needs to give you 10 good years, 15 good years. It's like for him or for anyone in dropshipping, it's like you need to do great for a year or two to be doing serious numbers. You can't just go from 0 to 100 grand a month overnight.
Yeah, exactly. And, when it comes to scaling, which is obviously, I think the title of this video is how to do $10,000 a day. Okay. So like Jared said, it's a long-term game, and you need to have that long-term mentality because, if you're only thinking the short term, then you're going to lose or you're not going to win at the highest level, which anyone who starts any kind of business, their ultimate goal should be to succeed at the highest level of anyone doing it. And maybe that's coming from, an ambitious person myself, but I think that's how it should be. And so, when it comes to the ads, a lot of people sometimes are afraid to scale. So, maybe it's up in a budget or whatever it is. You need to have the faith, 1, in the process, and 2, in what you've built. Like building a successful dropshipping store is not easy. I think maybe a lot of people watching this can attest that it's not easy. If you can gain that momentum, you can't be afraid to, reinvest it back into the business. And I think that goes with any business that you start.
Mikey, that was such a great point, because the thing is, guys, money in the bank rots like bread at a grocery store, right? I read the Bible that said, like, you need to multiply your money the same way that God multiplied the fishes. Like, think about that. Like, you can't have your money sitting in the bank. And once you start making money with ads, you can't be afraid to raise that ad spend. Like, one thing I like to say that pretty much always holds true is whoever spends more in advertising almost always makes more money. Now, that doesn't mean that you should come out the gate and as soon as you launch ads for the first time, spend $100 a day. That's not what I mean at all. But if you find something that works, you need to pretty much scale it to as far as you possibly can. I mean, for the winning products that, me and Mikey have, we pretty much get 100% of the impression share. So what does that mean? That pretty much anytime someone Googles that product, they're going to see us. And, once you find a winner, you can't be afraid to raise your budgets to that point where you're getting, 90%, 100% impression share. Because, think about it like this. You found something that's going to make you profitable, right? So that means every penny, not every dollar, every penny spent towards ads for that product can potentially bring back hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars even. So you cannot afford to not be getting all the potential impression share when you found something that works.
Yeah, that was spot on.
So
bread at a grocery store.
Sorry, Mike.
No, I just said bread at a grocery store. Gluten-free bread at a grocery store.
So in English, like, what am I saying? Once you make more, spend more. And ultimately, out of me and Mikey's 6 stores, the one that spends the most makes the most money. There's no surprise there. There's no hidden secret. That's just it.
Yeah, and like Jared said before, don't think just because he says spend more to make more is like you said. Don't come out and your opening budget is $300. Like, we have a system in place that we're passing on to the members of our community, and anyone else who wants to join will know that system. But when you're precise like that, and that's what it comes down to with Google Ads, is being precise with your spending, because you have a general idea of what people are searching to buy your products. And so, if someone is searching, let's say you're selling a gazebo, like Jared said, someone's searching cool looking gazebos, like, you might impress on that from the beginning. And, we have ways to make sure that you don't impress on that, because, cool looking gazebos, what's the buyer intent there actually, And so something like that comes down to precision and making sure that every dollar you spend has a chance to make it back 300-fold.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just one of the many reasons why, your Google ads won't be effective when you first start. Like you said, if you're selling gazebos and you first come up for, cool looking gazebos, you're not going to make sales off those keywords, right? Like, cool looking gazebos is just not going to make money. But if someone searches gazebo brand for my home for sale, that's someone actually looking to buy. So, as you do Google ads for longer, you'll start to understand, those concepts. And, as you do, that's when you'll start making big money. So let's go to the next question by Vershawn, our very own. Y'all go to ASD trade shows in Vegas. So I don't know what ASD stands for, Vershawn, if you want to, put that in the chat. But we have gone to trade shows in Vegas. I went to the MJ BizCon. It was a blast. I also went to Cowboy Christmas. So yeah, that, trade shows are a blast. If you're in a certain niche and you see a trade show in your area or even another part of the United States, take the trip. It's a tax write-off. It's worth it. You might close one supplier. As Mikey said, we closed one supplier that's done well over 50K in sales for us. So it was well worth the trip. We had a blast, and I'm sure you will too.
Yep.
Dwayne Gillespie, sorry. How often do you change products that you sell? So we never really change the product, but we're always adding new products. Once you launch your store, you typically want to launch at least 2 to 3 new suppliers per month, just so you can keep the momentum. Obviously, once you find a winning supplier, you can make money off that forever. But if you want to keep growing your catalog, then you definitely want to keep adding new suppliers.
Yep, spot on. Elo, do you just test products, just start a niche and find products? I think something that should definitely be noted, which I know we've said before, is we don't test really individual products. We test catalogs of these suppliers. So, sometimes catalogs can be just 5 or 10 products. Sometimes it can be as much as, 800 products. But yeah, it comes down to picking a niche, doing your due diligence. We outline exactly what we look for in suppliers. Just off the top of my head, like we mentioned before, you don't want to try to close a supplier that has 20 to 25 other retailers. One, it's going to cost you just a lot of money to win clicks in that. And 2, it's just, they're not going to be a winner. From our experience, you don't want to go near that type of supplier. We have a couple of other criteria that we look for, but, the secret sauce is for members.
I like that. The next question, it's not really a question, but it's funny that he said it. Dion, I did Google ads with low ticket and it still didn't work. Yeah. We've done Google ads with low ticket too, and it didn't work. And in the end of the day, like we say always, the winning strategy is high ticket products and Google ads. That's when it comes to being a successful supplier, I like to say that to find success, as a successful supplier, I said successful entrepreneur, to find success, you need to connect the dots, and high ticket and Google ads is connecting the dots.
Yep. Build assets, nice laptop, fanboys. Lopez with the Logitech headset. F5 build assets. I don't know if Joe and Mike. This is mommy and daddy's desktop, so don't hate. Bajanting 247. How much money did you first start with when you created your dropshipping business? Jack, you want to take that?
Yeah, so we had no money at all. And like I always say, if you have no money, then the 2 things I always recommend are to either work a job and save or impress someone that has money. So in my case, I was able to get investments from actually the people over at Build Assets Online. They invested in me. We worked together. They were our mentors. They taught us how to succeed, and that's what got us to where we are. But if you have $2,000 to $3,000, and that's more than enough to learn from us. So our program, our mentorship is only $97 a month. Other than that, you're going to spend a few $100 a month on advertising, and that's more than enough to make it work. So, if you have $2,000 to $3,000, you can make this drop shipping business work.
Yep. LO again. How do find money makers? There's really not a secret sauce to that one. My best advice is think out of the box. Think out of the box, but at the same time, don't try to go away from the basics. And so I don't want to contradict myself, but I have suppliers that, I somehow don't even know how I thought of. One of my best suppliers, my aunt told me to sell. This particular aunt, I love her to death. Every time I see her for Sunday dinner, she'd tell me to sell something. She'd be like, she doesn't know anything about business or, our business model in general, but she always has a product type to tell me. And I remember on Christmas, she told me I should sell upside down Christmas trees. Just to give you guys an idea of the kind of stuff that she would throw at me. And then another one, this was 2 months before Corona hit, she told me a product type, and I was like, wow, that actually sounds really interesting. Searched on Google. There are not a lot of people selling them, closed them, and since then, I think they've sold upwards of $100,000 worth. So I said, think outside of the box, and on the same token, don't think that a product is too saturated, because it really, most of the time, it comes down to that particular supplier. And Jared, if you kind of want to just feed off what I mean by that exactly.
For me, a strategy I honestly use is I just start with one product, right? So if a product comes to my mind, or even I just see something, right? I remember one time I was actually in my gym, my LA Fitness, working out, and I literally wrote down all the suppliers' names just so I can Google them later. And by suppliers, I mean literally the names of the brands on the workout machines at the gym. So for you to find money makers, just start with one product idea, Google it, and see what happens. Because what'll happen is you'll find brands, you'll find retailers. Next thing you know, you're finding 100 stores, and that across all those 100 stores sell 10,000 products. And at that point, you're just looking. And then eventually you got to take the step from looking to actually acting, right? So the next thing I would do is I would compile my list of 50 to 100 suppliers. Make sure that there's some way synergistic, right? So what do I mean by synergistic? Is that they can some way fit in one store, right? So at that point, I have 50 to 100 brands that I know can fit into one store. So this way, it's I know I have an abundance of opportunity. Then I'm going to start making the store. And then at that point, once the store is made, I'll start calling suppliers. By the time you close 3 to 5, that's when you want to take the step from calling new suppliers to listing, launching. Hopefully you start making money. If not, back to the drawing board, calling more suppliers, listing, launching, and repeating. And honestly, we've never had anyone that followed all of our steps that worked directly under us that eventually didn't start making money. So, as long as you trust the process and work with us, I mean, like I said, I can never guarantee results, but I can say that I can truly say that there's nobody that's worked with me for over a year that wasn't successful. I can truly say that, honestly. So,
yeah, that might be a test to, we haven't been doing mentorship for that long. No, I'm playing. I think, Jared, what you said about going into a gym and checking out brands on exercise equipment, that is a mentality shift. Whether it's you guys took it as that, I took it as that because I had the same exact thing happen to me. When I first started my drop shipping business, I would go places and the only thing on my mind is, I would just see things. And so, I talked to this to Jared a couple weeks, maybe months ago. I walked into a movie theater with my friends, and we were going to see a movie, and for them, the only thing on their mind was watching the movie. I walk in and I see an air conditioner on the wall, like a mini split AC, and I'm like, wow, I could definitely sell that. And so I go home, search, I find a couple of brands, and next thing I know, the next day I'm calling suppliers. Things like that. That's a mentality shift. When you're walking into scenes and you're seeing things from a different perspective, from a producer perspective rather than a consumer perspective. So most people are consumers. I'm still a consumer. I buy products, I eat products, but I'm also a producer. And I can tell you that being a producer feels a lot better than just consuming. When it comes to Black Friday, Black Friday rolls around, everyone and their mothers are talking about buying things. And for me, I'm like, wow, I'm gonna make so much money on this next day. And like I said, that's really just the beautiful part about being a producer.
Yeah. And I would say the first step to being a producer is when you make money, whether from your job or from whatever the case is, just not thinking about blowing it right away and thinking about, using that money to, create more money. I would say that's the first step. So, Ella Canino, does the size of the products matter? Absolutely not, just the price. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the expensive stuff is big, so it does cost a lot to ship. But if you can find something that's cheap, if you can find something that's small but expensive, then it's going to be cheap to ship and you can make a lot of money. So that's the best of both worlds. But the size absolutely does not matter. Brielle, hey, Jared, how long would you say it took to find a supplier that is willing to work you? That seems to be a part that takes the most time in this model. So that's a good question. So pretty much once your store is up and running and you're calling suppliers, you can close one that day. Like you can, once you start calling suppliers, you can officially close them immediately. But a lot of times it will take days. It might even take a week or two. But yeah, as soon as you start, once your site is up and you're calling suppliers, you can start closing immediately. So it really is possible. But yeah, if you call suppliers every day for a few weeks, over time, you'll probably have 5 to 10 suppliers that you can work with. And, with each supplier that you close is going to help you close the next one. So the first one is really the biggest hurdle. But once you close that first supplier, then, there's no reason why you can't close 100 suppliers.
For sure. Peter, LFG, I see Peter finally figured out how to make a comment in the chat. So you, Pete.
Sorry, I missed that, Pete. Arcel, how many niches and products do you generally have per store? I always tell my students 4 niches at least per store. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find 4 niches that fit into one store before you come up with the site name, before you start designing the site. And then at that point, the amount of products you can have are endless. What are the characteristics for good products? Actually, really simple. The only characteristics we use are make sure the products are $1,000 or more and make sure that there's not a lot of competition on Google.
Yep. J Bands, get into taxes. LOL, how do you manage? Haven't done my taxes on 2 turns up. Jared, you can take taxes.
Yeah. So there's 2 types of taxes, right? There's income tax and sales tax. So as J Bands, and what you're going to do is you are going to charge sales tax to every customer that buys that lives in your state. So let's just say you're living in New York. If a customer buys from you and is shipping to New York, then you will have to charge them sales tax. Ultimately, Shopify will charge it, you collect it, and you pay it. And that's how that works. It's very simple. The second type of taxes are income taxes. Now, this is one of the biggest benefits as to being a business owner, because what happens is if you work a job, they give you a paycheck and taxes get taken out immediately, right? And that's obviously the worst thing that can happen. With a business owner, you make your money, right? And then you spend all your expenses. And when I say expenses, I mean food, I mean car bills, I mean gas bills, I mean phone bills, everything you can think of, you spend, and then you spend taxes on what's left.
You pay taxes on what's next.
You pay taxes on what's left. So if I make, let's just say 200 grand a year profit, but then, my cost of living is 150 grand a year, I'm only going to pay taxes as if I made 50 grand a year. When you're an employee, if you make 200 grand a year, it doesn't matter what your cost of living is, you're paying taxes. So let me give you real number examples. In New York, the income tax is 30%. So if you make 200K as an employee, you are literally going to pay $60,000 in taxes. In New York, even though the income tax is 30%, if you make 200K as an entrepreneur, you might only spend $5,000 to $10,000 in taxes. And it's crazy that it really works that way, but that is why the rich get richer. That is why entrepreneurs spend save so much in taxes. That's how one person can make $1 million a year. One person can make 250 grand a year, and they might spend the same in taxes.
Yeah, and something that I see a lot, and I think is laughable. Yeah, there's always the people who are like, eat the rich, like rich people scam their way out of taxes, like yada yada yada. Listen, whether you want to call it a loophole or not, it comes down to being financially intelligent. And if you can't see how much that makes sense, what Jared, how perfectly he explained it, then read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he'll dumb it down for you. A great book about it, but yeah, it's just don't hate rich people for building successful businesses and being financially intelligent. If you can't beat them, join them. So instead of being a victim and crying about how much these rich people make, build something yourself. Provide value to people, provide value to society, and that comes down to playing a victim card, or taking life by the neck and doing something about it.
Yeah. Morty asked, where can we find your store? Obviously, on Google. We do give a we give a demo site example to our students, but yeah, we, for obvious reasons, do not share our store names. I obviously don't need to go into detail about that. Andres, I'm tired of working a regular job. I don't blame you.
Andres, shout out Andres too, my man. We were chopping it up this past weekend. Yeah, I mean, we have other videos about why working a job isn't the path for us. We've also said before that becoming an entrepreneur is not for everybody. Yes, we talk about how much we love making sales, and we like making money, and passive income, living life on our own terms. That's what we do it for. But if you think that we don't put up with a lot of stress, a lot of pressure at times, then you're mistaken. There more money, more problems. You're always gonna have something to deal with. And like I've said in past videos, I made a video about happiness a couple weeks ago, and I said that you can't let external factors affect what's happening inside. And so that goes beyond becoming a business owner. But yeah, if you want to become rich, you ever talk to any wealthy person, you don't ask, oh, who do you work for? You ask them, what do you own? Like, rich people own things. They don't work for someone else, because when you work for someone else, you're getting them rich, not yourself.
Yeah, couldn't agree better. I'm new at Shopify. Any suggestions from you? Obviously, our suggestions have been displayed throughout this video, high ticket and Google ads. If you want to learn more, we're giving 4 days free. If you guys see, you guys might see that in the description. Check it below. That if you sign up today or any day after, then you will get 4 days free with us. You get access to our content. And once the free trial ends, that's when the real fun begins, because then you get put in the group me and you get a private chat with me and Mike. So obviously, if you're enjoying this video and you want to work with me and Mike directly in a private group message, which I can't tell you how valuable it is to be associated with other people that are doing what you want to do. I mean, I think me and Mike can both attest that the only reason we were both successful is because we were literally associated with successful people, So to get a private group chat with us two, obviously it's valuable. There's no price on it. And there's a reason why, a lot of our close friends are making money right now, is because, the Science of Getting Rich says the closer you are to the source of wealth, the more wealth you'll receive. And that's really it.
Yeah, that was a great way to put it.
Build Assets Online said, thanks, guys. So yeah, Build Assets Online, again, guys, those were our mentors. We took that course. We worked directly with those guys. They taught us what we know. And, obviously, naturally, the most successful students do their own thing. It's very important to understand that concept, that the most successful students, should start their own course, because, we found so much success working with them. And now, since they spread all the knowledge to us, it's up to us to continue spreading knowledge to you. Dwayne, obviously, you guys have made a successful format. Can you both think of 2 failures during dropshipping? I feel some people get lost in hearing the success story. So Dwayne, as I mentioned, I saw the question. I said it was a great one. We both have had so many failures, not just before our current business that's successful, but during our business that's successful. And so I'll give you an example. when I first started running Google ads for the store that's currently making me 600 grand a month in sales, I literally wasn't profitable. You know, like literally the first 2 months of running ads, I had 5 suppliers and they were making sales. You know, we were doing a grand a month to 10 grand a month in revenue, and we literally were losing money. And, you know, like I said, I was working with my mentors. I continued to try, I continued to find new products to run ads. And eventually we found a supplier that really took us from 10 grand a month in sales to 100 grand. Then I found another supplier that helped take us from 100 grand to 200. Then I scaled the other two while finding new ones. So now we have like 20 suppliers and collectively are doing 700 grand a month. And Mikey, I know if you want to share, your upbringing was pretty similar with your store.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said before, I kind of touched upon it, I think my road was a little bit tougher than Jared's, but even besides the high ticket dropshipping, I hope you can find some inspiration in my story. I started becoming interested in business sophomore year of college, and because of Jared. Jared came in contact with Build Assets Online. Was working with them, and he kind of talked to me about entrepreneurship, and for me, it just kind of sparked instantly in my head. And so sophomore year, I start eBay dropshipping, and we're finding some good success with it. I'm finding some good success, and then PayPal drops the hammer, and we get banned for life. I have $3,000 worth of eBay fees that I have to pay, and now I have no money because PayPal is holding all my money for 6 months. I'm stressing. I'm like freaking out. I'm a sophomore in college. Long story short, my mom fronts me the money, and I pay her back the next summer, slinging pizzas. I think delivering pizzas is one note that you're a hustler. By the way, side note. I then started a different business. I tried selling hats from AliExpress. Made like 1 or 2 sales. I was trying Instagram shout outs, tried it all, didn't work. Next year of college, I try me and Jared. Jared, is already making money from his high ticket business and agrees to, pretty much work with me and front me some money, and we can go all in on AliExpress dropshipping. We lost, Jared, what was the final number? Around actually $10,000. Like, I don't think I'm rounding up. I think it started off we came around 8,000, like 500, and then
No.
we tried a little bit more. I don't know the exact number, Jared. Do you?
I mean, when we got ripped off and paid 5 grand for nonsense coaching, and then I think we lost like 4 or 5 grand for Facebook ads.
And I wouldn't even say it was nonsense coaching though. I think it really is a testament. Like the guy was definitely legit. Like he made money in the business model, but I think it was more just it attested to the business model itself that we were working so close. Like I'm talking, like we had 24/7 access to this guy. 24/7, we still were not able to succeed after like 8 months of trying this. And yeah, lost close to $10,000 worth. And the very next day after we called it quits, I started working on my high ticket dropshipping store. And so, maybe I can call this a humble brag, but I wasn't quitting. It was never in the cards. Quitting and just getting a job after college was not in the cards. I didn't tell my parents the first.
Yeah, and I mean, you can call it 24/7 access, but I mean, he would answer us a few times every 4 hours.
Okay, yeah, I think you get the point. But now you let me lose my train of thought. What was I gonna say? All right. Moral of the story: I had my high ticket store up in 2 weeks. I made my first sale after 3 days of testing Google Ads, which I don't say that you're gonna get those results, but I made a sale after 2 days of testing Google Ads, and then finally actually became profitable after like 5 or 6 months and started making real money. What is that? Jared?
Can you hear me, Mikey? Yeah.
Hear you now. Did I lose you?
Oh, Mikey, can you hear?
You're going in and out. All right. Well, it looks like I may have lost Jared.
I think the live went down.
Did it? Did I lose you? No. You can hear me, Jared?
Hello?
There you go. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you guys drop something in the chat if you can hear us going live still or no? All right, guys, bear with me. If you can hear me, drop a yes in the chat. Because oh, you can see me. Okay. All right, Morty, I appreciate that. So Morty, since you're the one that's responding to me, wait. Viewers, but I think we still got some people. If you bearing with us.
When you were talking, I was just losing connection, and I was gone.
All right, so we're back up.
All right, great. Where were we?
I think I just finished up my story. Like I said,
I didn't really get to hear most of the story. Just I guess which question?
well, I think you know the story.
We were at Dwayne's question, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dwayne, back to the question. We both failed many times with other business models and with this. And guess what? With high ticket, even to find success in high ticket, you're still gonna fail. You know, the first suppliers you launch may not be good. You know, I'm not saying they won't be. There's a chance they will be, but you know, we failed many times in this business and in other businesses. But when it comes to what we teach, we really do give you guys the best chance of success based off everything that we've done in e-commerce. Obviously, you know, there's plenty of other businesses out there that we may not know of, but based off our experience, you know, this is really what gives you the best possibility to make your first dollar online. I really do believe that. I stand by that. And until proven otherwise, I'm going to continue to stand by that.
I like it.
IB.
Oh, let's go down to GOD. IB is considered a business expense. Yeah, that goes in your P&L, your profit and loss sheet. Obviously, you know, we have to calculate our profit for every single sale. You know, after we put all the sales in, whatever we spent on Google Ads comes out of the bottom line, and that's how we know what we get paid.
Google Ads is the #1 business expense, for sure. So, you know, when it comes to calculating profit, that's the #1 thing you need to subtract. Arsol, what are some examples of niches that can work together? What are 4 example niches you can include in the store? That's really not something we probably are going to announce on the live, but I do know that you joined our program. So yeah, when we get on a one-on-one call, pretty much what I would prefer to do is I would want you to watch our video in regards to product research, and then let's hop on the first call and we'll discuss, you know, what would be the best strategy for you. So yeah, after the 4-day trial ends, that's when you're eligible to join the group chats. That's when you're eligible for your first call. So yeah, once your trial ends, we can hop on that first call. In the meantime, watch the mindset module and then start with the e-commerce course after.
Yeah, and you know, like a quick note on that mindset module is, you know, like I said before, I've said before, and I will continue to say that if you're looking to start a business, you need the mindset down, which is why we want all of our members to watch our mindset module, because, you know, if you have a weak mindset, you're probably going to quit easy. And, you know, when the going gets tough, and it will get tough, you're just not going to be ready for it unless you have a thick skull.
Yep. How many hours per day do you guys work on your stores first when you guys started and compared to now? When we first started, we both wanted it as bad as you really can possibly want it. I mean, we worked on it as much as possible, but now I'd say we really don't give more than a few hours a week. I really don't work on my stores more than 4 to 6 hours a week at this point, and they produce 30. Personally, I probably make from my stores around $30,000 to $40,000 a month. So a very humble brag. But guys, the 4-hour work week is real. It's possible for anyone. The catch is that it takes months to get to that point. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice to get there. But eventually it is possible that you can get to the point we've gotten to where, we work a few hours a week and, make well over 5 figures a month profit. Should we go to the next question to Kevin?
Yep.
When you close a supplier, do they give you access to their entire catalog or only a specific product? Always the entire catalog. So, that's the beauty of this business, is that, you're not dealing with single products, you're dealing with catalogs.
Yeah, and I usually like to ask suppliers off the bat when I close them, like, hey, what are your best sellers? Just to kind of expedite the testing process a little bit. Like, if I know a particular set of products are their best sellers, then when it comes to ad spend, I'm going to make sure that those products are getting the most attention compared to the other products in the catalog.
Yep. So I think that's all for this live stream, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, unless anyone has any last minute questions. I know a lot of you guys have been with us most of this live stream, which we really appreciate. We got big plans. So like I said last time, when this channel's got hundreds of thousands and millions of subscribers, we won't forget you guys asking questions. We hope that you guys continue to join us, because at the end of the day, we're really just looking to give people as much value as we possibly can. I think we would be doing people a disservice if we had all of this knowledge, and even aside from high ticket e-com, about entrepreneurship in general, we would be doing a disservice to everyone if we just kind of hoarded this knowledge. So anything you guys ever want to know, please feel free to let us know.
Yeah. And guys, obviously, if you want to join our program, we're happy to work with you. As we put in the description, we are giving 4 days free. And yeah, one more thing, as Mike mentioned, if you're a day one to More Than Money, then we definitely will remember you. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. So if you like this video, please, guys, swing us a like, subscribe. If you guys want to see us go live or record a video about anything else, high ticket e-com, entrepreneurship, how to do taxes, how to form an LLC, drop a comment below. We will get to it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all in the next live stream.